Fundamentally, what we care about at Accel is identifying and backing entrepreneurs who are pursuing big opportunities and are really building innovative companies, right? And so as you think about what today is called fintech, 15, 20 years ago, with companies like Integral and Yodlee, it was selling technology to financial institutions. Then you had the innovation go over to payments, where we are investors in companies like Venmo and Braintree. And today, the consumer is front and center with financial services, right? Where we are investors in companies like Funding Circle and World Remit that are really spending more time on the financial services side of the industry, right? Blockchain definitely is an interesting one where we spend a lot of time to really understand what the future looks like and what the use cases are around this technology, and the opportunity to create large new businesses around it, with emphasis on new businesses. And I think that certainly, there's been a lot of buzz around that area in the last year or so, and so I think we're spending a lot of time on it and trying to develop a thesis around that space. Another space where we've seen a lot of interesting momentum is around insurance. So fundamentally, looking at the insurance industry and drawing analogies to the banking and financial services industry from a couple of years ago, where structurally insurance companies today are forced to innovate around the way that they service the customer and the way that they use data and mobile. And that leads, again, to two trends. On the one hand, the emergence of new competitors that are challenging existing insurance providers, and on the other hand, startups that are helping existing insurance companies to transition to this new era. And I think that creates a number of interesting opportunities. On the consumer side, the trends are similar to what we've seen elsewhere, in that the consumer today is focused on the mobile experience. They want to go online, and they want to be able to text, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a multi-channel world where the consumer wants to interact on multiple channels, whereas the insurers historically have focused on a single channel distribution model and have built their technology and systems around those, and have built those 20, 30 years ago. And back then, things like APIs and data integration were not really relevant, right? And so now they're in this interesting position where it's really tough to make these changes, because these underlying core systems have been built over decades, literally, and built in-house and customized. And so now it's the question of, how quickly do you want to pull this Band-Aid off, and how painful is it going to be, right? And so unless you absolutely have to, you are resisting to renewing these technologies. And banks have had to go through this experience, and they've had to go through a cycle, and insurers are just now coming to the point where it's pressure. The reason that they're behind is because, as you said, the product is inherently more complex, and the distribution structure with brokers essentially makes it a little bit less intuitive of how you go to market. And that's why startups in the space have had a harder time, right? The other incremental point that you add to that, that adds to the pressure insurers are facing, is that the yield environment for investments, which is how insurers generate a lot of their income, is declining. So from an income perspective, they're seeing lower and lower yields, meaning that to maintain the same level of profitability, they have to focus on the cost side of the business, which in turn puts more pressure to change again. And that, together with the outward pressure that they're facing from startups, creates more momentum around saying, we need to do something, we need to innovate, we need to focus on new technologies that are going to help us stay relevant.